Coming up on OU Nightly, a family's home in pieces, how they're moving forward after the tornado. Our Washington, D.C. Bureau brings you live coverage ahead of the Supreme Court abortion pill decision. And Baker is back. We'll tell you what's brought him to the Sooner State. This is OU Nightly. Thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Morgan Martin.
And I'm Purpura. Tonight, we're learning more about the impact of a dozen tornadoes that ripped through central Oklahoma Wednesday night. OU Nightly's Cade Kennedy visited a family in Noble that was devastated by the storm.
On Wednesday night, Quinn and Elaine Wahlberg's lives changed forever.
And I was like, I think there goes our house. And then whenever we heard that, all of a sudden all the walls moved and a bunch of dust came down. So I thought we maybe lost the roof on top of our heads.
As the Wahlbergs pick up the pieces from the tornado, they are grateful to have a community to be there for them.
Like I said, we have the support system in place. All our friends, family, my coworkers, her coworkers.
Although the Noble tornado was a tragedy for the Wahlbergs, they feel beyond blessed to have survived.
I think the only thing that saved us is because of our log cabin. I think that if we were in like the barn that we had just built, it's completely totaled.
Everywhere you look, there is devastation, but the Wahlbergs do have insurance and plan to rebuild right here in Noble. Cade Kennedy, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Cade. Classes at Oklahoma Baptist University are canceled after a tornado damaged parts of campus. But the athletic department is determined not to let the storm shut them down. OU Nightly's Phan is live in the newsroom. Kaly?
Pepper, although extensive damage has been done to the softball and baseball complexes as well as the racetrack, the Bisons are not saying bye to their spring sports just yet.
Spring in Oklahoma means storms, and at OBU in Shawnee, it also means baseball. Clayton Kaufman, OBU Director of Athletic Communications, says his department is helping student athletes.
If they know they're going to play, they're going to find a way to practice and get ready for those games, and there's no inclination to say at this point that your seasons are done.
And we'll be there after classes end too.
We fully anticipate them playing games over the next couple weekends and into the postseason.
The team won't be able to play at home again this season due to tornado damage, but they're still confident.
There's nothing deterred in their mind that says, well, this is it. We're not playing anymore. There's no reason for me to believe that. There's no reason for them to believe that either, as far as everything we've heard up to this point.
Kaufman says they and all of OBU's volunteers are hard at work across all of campus and its athletic facilities, as they want to make sure next fall won't also be impacted by the destruction.
There's been a lot of work done these last 24, 36 hours to start the cleanup process. And there's going to be work that needs to be done, but I know we're going to bust our hump to have a football game here, come late August.
A full damage report for all athletic facilities impacted by the storm has been posted on the OBU Athletics website with pictures and a link to their tornado relief page. Live in the newsroom, Phan, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Kaly. And after that severe weather outbreak earlier this week, people are now out cleaning up after the storm.
OU Nightly meteorologist Peyton Galyean is in studio to tell us how the weather's looking as people are out picking up the pieces. Peyton?
Well, thankfully, temperatures are warm enough outside where you don't have to worry about a jacket or really sweating that much. Temperatures are only in the upper 60s, lower 70s. And as we look at video in Shawnee, once again, OBU isn't the only facility dealing with those athletic issues. We can see the Shawnee High School basketball gymnasium seems to be a complete loss and destroyed when cleaning that up. So coming up in Maine weather, I'm going to talk about how those storm surveys are continuing, the cool down coming up in your spring game forecast.
Time is ticking. The Supreme Court has until midnight tonight to decide the future of the abortion pill. OU Nightly's Mack is live in Washington with more. Noah, what can you tell us?
I'm here outside the Supreme Court where they're deliberating a case right now that will decide the fate of mifepristone, the abortion pill. And now we're expecting to have that decision before midnight tonight. The Biden administration and the manufacturers of this pill called on the court to block a ruling by a district judge that banned it across the nation. And now that is temporarily paused, that ruling, but manufacturers and consumers are in limbo right now until they get a straight answer. This comes a little under a year since Roe v. Wade was overturned, the landmark abortion case, and throwing abortion into the political spotlight. Reporting live from Washington, Noah Mack, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Noah. Coming up, the United Kingdom is losing their vice prime minister.
We tell you why he's resigning.
And the latest on charges against actor Alec Baldwin.
How new evidence in an accidental shooting on set is changing the entire case after the break. Devastation in Shawnee after a tornado touchdown. One former Sooner football player is stepping up to help. OU Nightly's Colton Williams talked to the athlete turned entrepreneur about how his business is helping the community.
Tornadoes tear through Oklahoma Wednesday evening, with some communities taking a direct hit. One of the worst, Shawnee, Oklahoma. With no power, restaurants and stores remain closed for now the second day in a row. A former Sooner star knew he needed to step in and help. D.D. Westbrook, known for his days of being an elite wide receiver at OU, runs a food truck called Go Crazy End Zone Eats. In partnership with Joe Cooper Dodge of Shawnee, they set up to help the community in need.
And I got a text message last night around like 7 o'clock last night. Jason Valentine here, a really good friend of mine, been friends for about 2 years now. He hit me up and he was like, hey man, there's no food supply here in Shawnee. What do you think about potentially getting your food truck out here?
So I reached out to him, told him it'd be a good idea to bring his food truck out, and then it expanded and now it's blown up to the point to where he's doing everything for free.
Well, when we asked Dee what it meant to give back to the community that he now calls home, he says it meant everything to him.
Any way that I can give back in any form, whether it's the kids free camps or whether it's handing out free food to the people in times of need, like that's what I'm doing.
Westbrook says the food truck idea was actually his girlfriend's, Sooner women's basketballer Ana Yanusa's idea.
It means everything. We have people that support us from all over the state, and they come, they spend money, they are there, they know exactly who you are, they know where you're from, and they know just so many things about you, and it makes you want to give back because they're supporting you so much.
Dee and Anna's truck is at Joe Cooper Dodge today as long as there are folks showing up to take food and are working on plans to return for the weekend. For OU Nightly, I'm Colton Williams.
If you'd like to follow along with the truck's next stop, you can follow @EndZoneEats on Twitter.
Shifting into our international headlines, a power struggle in Sudan is keeping some Americans stuck in their borders. Victoria Anderson has that and more headlines from around the world in the News Center.
The Pentagon has announced there is no evacuation plan for Americans in Sudan amid rising violence within the country, claiming Americans should have no expectations of a government evacuation following months of warnings.
When it comes to Sudan, this is a warning, a level 4 warning that we provided to them many months ago.
An estimated 16,000 U.S. citizens live in Sudan. And the UK's Vice Prime Minister steps down today after an investigation into his bullying behavior. Dominic Raab was the discussion of 8 formal complaints varying from aggressive behavior to abuse of power. His resignation letter showing no remorse or responsibility, saying the investigation set the threshold for bullying too low. All charges have been dropped for actor Alec Baldwin in the Rust movie shooting investigation, formally charged with involuntary manslaughter after a gun went off on set, killing cinematographer Helena Hutchins. The court claims new evidence revealed the gun was modified before being delivered to set, undermining the prosecution's original argument. And in honor of Earth Day, President Biden signing an executive order planning to focus more on environmental issues. Ladies, how are you celebrating Earth Day?
Well, Victoria, we've already made our way to one event this week.
Yeah, coming up after the break, we will tell you how the university is going to be closing out Green Week.
But first, Peyton Galyean has been following the damage from Wednesday night's storms. Peyton?
Yes, right now our campus looks beautiful, but that is not the case for Oklahoma Baptist University over in Shawnee. I will break down the survey damage crews are assessing after the break. Well, welcome back to OU Nightly. In honor of Earth Day tomorrow, we can see that those flowers are starting to bloom on the South Oval. Overall, a beautiful day across campus, 68 degrees. And for the rest of the metro, we are in those upper 60s, lower 70s. This is basically average temperatures. I want you to hold on to it tight because that's not the case for the next few days. More on that at the end of my forecast, but you can see that those tornado reports across central Oklahoma from the other night are pretty much all over the place. We go from down in Cole up to Tinker, up into Pottawatomie County, over by Shawnee, and more on where those crews are surveying. I know it is very hard to see, but you can see down here back into McLean County where we have that Cole system came up just by Riverwind Casino, out onto Highway 9, down towards Etowah. This is when we had that Fujiwara effect of systems happening. It came up into Pink, crossed over Highway 9, and almost backtracked towards Lake Thunderbird. And then we have that cell up into Shawnee where we had that EF2 preliminary report. So you're probably like, what is the difference between EF0, EF1, EF2? Like, what is that? So we start off basing it on wind. However, hurricanes are measured on wind speed. That is not the same for tornadoes. We first look at the wind speeds reported and then we go into the damage. That is why we have those damage assessment surveys. And EF0 starts with shingles flying off. We have those gutters, broken branches. Going into that EF1 level, that is when we get into those broken windows, those doors damage, overturned mobile homes, and then EF2, which is what we're seeing in Shawnee. That's roofs torn off, like I showed you at the Shawnee High School, earlier also at OBU. Going into EF3, that is what's reported down in Cole, where people sadly lost their lives. You can see entire stories or homes destroyed in that destructive damage. So looking at Shawnee, once again, this hotel, you can see the walls, the brick walls are nearly gone. You can see everything collected into this courtyard area, and sadly there is going to be some rain for your spring game. 11 a.m. with that Heisman ceremony, 2:30 when that kickoff, it's going to be moving out. Your Sunday seems to be pretty much clear, and going into the rest of your week, we are going to cool back down, and then we do have those rain chances pretty much going into every single day of your next week. So ladies, I think you do need to bring that poncho to the spring game tomorrow. You might want to hold on to it because I don't think you're going to need it by kickoff. Showers should have moved throughout the rest of the area.
Awesome. And then for people who are continuing to clean up over the weekend, what do they need to be looking out for?
What can they expect? Scattered showers just across the state is the thing we need to keep in mind. Below average temperatures in the 50s. We're normally used to those 70s like we have today, but you're going to need to bundle up in those light jackets picking up debris.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Peyton. And going into the spring game, it's not going to be the only thing tomorrow. We will also be having Earth Day. And we have a little friend here with us to help us celebrate.
These little guys were being handed out on the South Oval today to close out Green Week. I grabbed this one, which is a pepper plant. I felt that was fitting to bring in as a co-anchor.
Well, the student-run group here at OU is the largest sustainability organization on campus. They advocate for environmental efforts all across the campus.
Booths lined up around the South Oval in celebration of Earth Day tomorrow. Thanks for watching OU Nightly. Don't go anywhere because Big Friday Sports is next, with more on two Sooner legends return to Norman.
Both Heisman Trophy winners Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray are in Norman for the spring game.
Hello and welcome back to Big Friday Sports. I'm Brigg Bates.
And I'm Addison Arthur. There are Sooner legends returning to Norman for the annual Red and White game, and we'll cover tons of other Sooner sports, so let's get into it. A special OU alum landed in Oklahoma this afternoon and has big plans this weekend. Former OU quarterback Heisman winner Kyler Murray is in Norman for the unveiling of his Heisman statue happening tomorrow at 11:30 a.m.
And last season, Baker Mayfield and the Selman brothers were immortalized with their own statues on campus in Heisman Park. And now OU is adding one more to that park this weekend. I walked over to Jenkins Street to get the inside scoop on Kyler Murray's statue. Called it the greatest individual single season in OU football history. In 2018, the Sooners made the college football playoff anchored by a monster Kyler Murray season. The Heisman winner broke records left and right, averaging 300 passing yards a game, throwing for 42 touchdowns, along with 1,000 rushing yards, leaving jaws dropped along the way.
I think it's probably going to be like traditional, but I mean, they might shock us with like he got to do something like iconic, like K1 drip, like. He got to put on for OU for sure. I can't wait to see it.
Here in Heisman Park, there are 6 different Heisman Trophy winner statues, with an addition of Kyler Murray's statue touching down on Saturday, marking his legacy in Heisman Park. The big question this week is, what will Kyler Murray's statue pose be? Will it be Jason White throwing it down the field? Will it be a traditional Heisman pose? Or will it be Kyler Murray crossing the goal line with his hand in the air at the Cotton Bowl versus Texas?
I'm not quite sure. I know there's a little controversy on Bakes, but, I'm hoping everyone feels good about Kyler's.
Heisman makes sense. He won the Heisman, it's something that's an honor, not many people can embrace. And so, I think a Heisman pose would really kind of bring the message home about the kind of dominance and great people and players they're establishing here.
Reporting from Heisman Park, Brigg Bates, Game Day U.
Great story, Brigg. And speaking of OU Heisman winners, Baker Mayfield is back to support his former teammate and fellow member of the Heisman fraternity. Our own Emily Faith is live there with the story.
Right. Oklahoma's own Tampa Bay Buccaneer Baker Mayfield is back in town and ready to watch Kyler Murray set his OU legacy in stone. Sooner legend everyone knows and loves, Baker Mayfield, has returned to his Crimson roots this weekend to support and celebrate his former teammate and fellow Heisman Trophy winner, Kyler Murray.
It's a special weekend. Last year this time I was going through all the emotions of, putting the statue up for me, and for it to be this 1 year later and it's for Kyler. It's to think about that it was back-to-back is still mind-blowing, but I'm so happy for him.
Baker also touched on his time with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and what it's like to fill a football legend's shoes like Tom Brady.
Been down in Tampa for 1 week now, so getting to know everybody there, getting to know teammates, and it just seems like a great place. Organization as a whole from top down, they do it well. That's why they've had so much success. Everybody asks the question about taking over for Tom. I'm never going to be Tom. He's the greatest quarterback ever. Our play styles are very different, but I'm going to try and be the best version of myself, and that's how I've always done it, and so I'm going to continue to try and do that.
Baker and many other Sooner legends will be in attendance for the spring game tomorrow for the Heisman celebration at the Palace. Reporting live, I'm Emily Faith, OU Nightly Sports.
Thanks, Emily. From Oklahoma City to Norman, we've covered former players that are going to be at the spring game, but now our Melina Semere breaks down what players will be taking the field for the Crimson and Cream in the OU spring game tomorrow at 2:30.
Brigg, Addison, it's football time in Norman, Oklahoma tomorrow afternoon as Team 129 makes their debut at the Palace on the Prairie. OU football is introducing a new defensive scoring system for this Saturday spring game, as you can see right here, and Brent Venables has been liking what he sees with his defense this spring season.
It's a developmental time. Every rep counts, every day counts. Some guys get thinking about the season, man. These are the days right here that you build your foundation for your season. And defense is trained reaction. This is a game on both sides of the ball that your fundamentals should show up under stress.
We'll see if Sooner Nation will pack at the Palace this Saturday at 2:30 in the afternoon. Live outside Oklahoma Gaylord Family Memorial Stadium, Melina Semere, OU Nightly.
Welcome back to Big Friday Sports, and if you are heading out to the Palace on the Prairie tomorrow, you might want to grab a rain poncho before you head out there. 11:30 in the morning when you are tailgating, watching that Heisman statue debut of Kyler Murray, we have a 30% chance of seeing some scattered showers throughout the area. lower 50s by the time of kickoff, lingering showers throughout the area, slowly warming up. But this overclouded coverage, we're not going to warm up that high of 58 degrees as the annual red versus white game kicks off right across the street. Brigg.
Thanks, Peyton.
OU softball is on a 31-game win streak, and they are trying to keep it alive and make it 32, 33, and 34 on the road this weekend.
Patty Gasso and her squad is in Waco about to take on the Baylor Bears in a 3-game series. First pitch is tonight at 6:30, where the Bears and the Sooners have the Sooners' attention after giving OU their lone loss of the season.
We take pride in the idea of not letting anybody beat us twice, and that's something they stand firm on, and that's why they're very anxious to come out and avenge that loss, but really show that they're better. That's the best way to go about it, is just have them be around the upperclassmen who set the tone for what we do next.
This weekend, OU heads down I-35 to Austin for a 3-game series with Skip Johnson's former team.
The Sooners and Texas split 4 games last season. First pitch of the Red River rivalry is tonight at 7 p.m. and 2:30 on both Saturday and Sunday.
And Oklahoma men's and women's tennis teams are in Lawrence, Kansas for the opening round of the Big 12 Championship.
The men's team started off hot, knocking down Baylor 4-3 to advance to the second round and now faces top seed Texas in the semifinals. And the women's team is still playing for a spot in the semis. And they're off to the races. OU track and field is looking to cross the finish line first as the Sooners host the John Jacobs Invitational in Norman.
In-state rival Oklahoma State is in town, and along with other schools across the board. There'll be events throughout the weekend with UTA being there, OBU, and OUC as well.
Thank you so much for watching Big Friday Sports. I'm Addison Arthur.
And I'm Brigg Bates. For updates in this weekend's action, watch OU Nightly Monday live at 4:30. Good night.